Hey everybody, Justin White here, and you're about to listen to episode 25 of Power Forward. Our guest is Charlie Bell, a member of Michigan State's 2000 National Championship basketball team, a former NBA player, and now a member of our team. Like my co-host Mateen Cleaves, Charlie hails from Flint, Michigan. So he and Mateen go way back, and you'll really enjoy hearing some of their old stories and the friendly ribbing that comes with those two knowing each other so well. After Michigan State, Charlie had a 12-year playing career in the NBA and overseas. He'll talk about how simply understanding his role helped him achieve success. Charlie also spent time as a coach before he decided to make a drastic change. You'll find out why Charlie left basketball behind to start a new career in the business world. It all comes your way right now with Charlie Bell on Power Forward. The primary purpose of this podcast series is to inform, entertain, and educate. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast series do not constitute legal or other professional advice, opinions, or endorsements of any kind.
This is Power Forward.
All right, welcome back to Power Forward. Justin White alongside Mateen Cleaves, and we're not under our normal circumstances, obviously. We're not in the same room with each other because of social distancing and everybody working remotely right now. But as always, Mateen, what is good, my friend?
Oh, Justin, hey, man. Still living a dream, man. Please don't wake me up. Let's go, baby.
Hey, as long as you're living the dream, that works for me. That actually helps me a lot because we need everything we can get at a time like this, right?
Right, exactly.
Certainly different circumstances, but we're going to have some fun on the show today. And we're also going to take a trip down memory lane because we are pleased to be joined by Charlie Bell. He is in the Business Innovation Group at our company. And for those of you that don't know, Mateen and Charlie go back a ways. Just how far back? Well, I'm going to let you guys fill our audience in on that because Charlie and Mateen played together at Michigan State. They were on the 2000 National Championship basketball team, and they also are both products of Flint, Michigan. So, Charlie, welcome to Power Forward. We're really happy to have you here.
Man, it's great to be here. Like you said before, with everything changing and not being able to be in the office, just to hear Mateen's voice, man. Anytime I can hear that, man, that hypes me up, man. It gets me ready every time, man.
And let me jump in here, Justin, because you talked a little bit about me and Charlie, how we grew up together. And, man, being in Flint, it was like you had to conquer your neighborhood. You had to be the best player in your neighborhood. Then you start hearing, about guys in other different neighborhoods that were good in basketball. And all I kept hearing was, you got to see this kid Charlie Bell play, because I thought I was really good. But I just kept hearing, it's a kid at Merle Elementary. You got to go watch this kid play. And, when I went to go watch Charlie, I was a year or two older than Charlie, but when I went to watch him, baby, it wasn't disappointing, man. He was something to see, even at an early age. I'm talking elementary days, man. He was, you can tell then that it was something special about Charlie, and he was going to be great in basketball.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, it's funny, that was the days before social media. So like you said, it was like all you had was your neighborhood. Like I knew I had a boundary. My parents had a boundary. I had like these 4 streets I couldn't go past growing up. And, Mateen was outside of the 4 boundaries, but I did hear about him and I did see him play. And I was like, the same person he is now is who he was as a little kid. He always walked around with that confidence. And, it was something that I really loved about him, and I was just excited to play with him when I first got to Michigan State and just know him throughout all these years. He's still the same person, just like myself. We always – we come from a very humble city, and we always try to stay humble.
Now, I know that, Mateen, you're a year older than Charlie, but tell us, when did you guys first meet? How old were you guys when you first met each other?
Well, if I can remember, I'm getting old now, as you can see with the grays, but it had to be elementary. I mean, because in Flint, if you played basketball, if you were good in basketball, you would come across each other all the time, and I heard a lot about him, but I would say for sure, the high school days, for sure, when our relationship started to grow. Is that right, Charlie?
That sounds good to me, man. It was a long time ago. Like you said, Flint's a basketball city. So if you played basketball, at some point you probably ran into each other, and probably, like you said, Canusa games, we probably seen each other. I mean, there's a lot of different things that go on in Flint where I'm sure we ran into each other. But like high school was like when we really started to compete against each other and really started to understand who each other were.
So you guys have both touched on Flint, and Charlie, I want to ask you, for our listeners out there who don't know much about Flint, Michigan, tell them what it was like growing up there and how those experiences shaped who you are today.
I mean, like I said before, it's a humble city, a blue collar city. Everybody, it's all about hard work. I think, seeing my parents go to work every day, seeing everybody else, is this, it's General Motors, and everybody kind of worked in the shop, or, and that just that grind. It's not something that everybody liked to do, but it was a grind. And everybody went to work every day, and they knew that that's what they had to do. And it was tough, and there was a lot of pride in our city. I mean, there's still a lot of pride. Anytime. That's why we got the tattoos on our arms. And I think we kind of started something, and I think every basketball player, every athlete, or anybody that comes from Flint, they got Flint tatted on them somewhere, because there's a lot of pride. We take a lot of pride in our city, and we go out there and we try to represent our city to the best that we can. And it's a very competitive city, like Mateen talked about. Canusa games, we had to play against another country. When we playing 13 under 14, anytime we went out there, we're competitive. We want to win. We don't care what it is. Even when I go out there with my uncles and my dads and open gym when I was growing up, when I go on the golf course, everybody wants to win. And on the pool table, you want to win. It's a very competitive city. There's no, hey, we just go out there and enjoy and have fun. No, you want to win.
Yeah, exactly. And it gets competitive. I'm telling you, coming from Flint, you compete at everything you do. And Charlie, I want to ask you something. I want you to dive a little more into this, because you just hit a little bit on your dad, but people don't know Charlie Bell's father was a heck of a player. I mean, the Charlie Bell name was ringing bells before the young pup came up. His dad was great. And speak a little bit on your mom, too, because he had a very vocal mother, highly accountable. I'm sure he didn't play good or didn't play hard. She didn't shy away from telling him that. So speak a little bit about your parents and your upbringing, Charlie.
I want to hit on my dad first. Like you said, I mean, he played for one of the top local teams in the city. Everybody knew about Sam Ragnar, Termy, and they had some really good players on that team. And it was pretty. Yeah, he had some pros that played on that team, some semi-pros. I mean, it was a battle. I mean, I was growing up watching them play, and everybody, like I said, growing up, especially playing basketball, everybody knew everybody. And when I went to high school at Southwestern, everybody would always come up to me, "Oh, you Charlie Bell's son, huh?" I'm like, "Man, you know my dad." So I remember one time I might have been like in the 7th, 8th grade. I don't know. I was acting up in class one time. Back in the day, they put you out in the hallway. That was like your 5 minutes. You get put out in the hall. So I'm in the hallway, and the security guard came around. He looked at me like, "You Charlie Bell, you Charlie Bell's son and Bell's son." I'm like, "Man, you know both my parents?" I'm like, "Oh, nah." So right then and there, I was like, "Man, I better not get a choke, because, man, these people know my parents, man. I can't get it." Then my mom, like Mateen talked about, she's very vocal. To this day, very vocal. She was the one, if you go into a quiet gym and you hear somebody yelling and screaming, that was probably going to be my mom. And then she, like Mateen talked about, like, both of my parents, I mean, they pushed me. I mean, if I had a bad game, they would let me know. If I had a good game, my dad was always the one. He would find something. They'd be like, if I had 40 points, I missed a free throw. I had 40 today, Dad. Oh, you missed that free throw. Golly. So it's kind of like you always had to push yourself to get better.
Charlie, I'm curious, at what point when you were growing up did you realize that basketball was going to be your path, that you were good enough to pursue it and play big-time college basketball and really go after that as your dream?
You know what? It was probably pretty late. I mean, I was a huge fan of, Michael Jordan and basketball in general. I just love watching the game, love playing the game. But, to me, I don't really think it clicked until my senior year. I was getting recruited all through, high school. But to me, it was like I'm just having fun, just playing the game. But I think once, Antonio, Mopede, and Mateen, once I saw them at Michigan State, and I'm like, wow, this might be something that, I can go to Michigan State too, or I can go play at a college somewhere. And that's when it really started to hit me. When you see people that you grew up with and see guys that you compete against, playing on that college level, that was something that was like, that's when it really hit me, probably around my senior year.
And Charlie was great. and track as well. He was really good in different sports, but Charlie will run cross country. And I mean, Charlie probably, out of all the players I ever played with, probably has been in the best shape of anybody. And Charlie, can you talk a little bit about, because I think that has a lot to do with mental toughness. I think mental toughness, being successful in business life, you got to be mentally tough. And can you talk a little bit about, how you had to be mentally tough to run cross country or to accomplish some of the things that you accomplished in your life?
I think for me, being in shape was probably one of my secret weapon. I think, a lot of times, we get out there on the basketball court, a lot of guys running around that second, third quarter, they're tired. And for me, it was like, and the funny thing is, it's probably around 7th grade, 8th grade, I tried to play football, and I got hit a couple of times. I was like, nah, this ain't for me. I got to find something else. And that's kind of what led me to cross country. I was like, and I just started running, and I seemed like, I fell in love with it. I really, really love to run long distances, and it really helped my basketball game. Come third, fourth quarter, I was grabbing rebounds, going coast to coast while everybody was tired. And one person I saw who really kind of inspired me was Stacey Thomas. She ran, at that time, cross country and girls basketball was going at the same time. I would see Stacey run a cross country meet and then go play basketball right after, and probably still scored 30, 40 points. I mean, she was unbelievable. And for me, that's just something I always prided myself in, was just trying to be in the best condition that I can be in. And like Mateen said, it has a lot to do with mental toughness because, you get tired, and it's very repetitive. Just kind of just running. It's very easy to give up. And the thing is, you can't give up because you got to wait till you cross that finish line. I've run if you grew up in Flint, everybody know about the Crim 10-mile road race. I've ran that a few times, and there was a few times, mile 1, mile 2, mile 3. It's like there's a lot of times you want to stop, but the thing is, if you set your mind to a goal, you got to keep going. And them 10 miles, it's gonna hurt after, but at the same time, it's about mentally being strong and trying to finish and push through when your body is telling you no. You got to go out and finish because you set your goal. And it's hard, and like Mateen said, it's tough, but it builds a lot of character and a lot of mental toughness.
See, I just learned something about you that I didn't know before. I too am a runner. I too ran cross country, and I too have run the Crim in Flint. So I'm going to say it right here: you and I, Charlie, and maybe you too, Mateen, are going to run the Crim at some point in the near future. It might be later this year. It might be next year, but we're all going to train. We're all going to do it together.
I'm down for it this year. Not Mateen, I don't know. Like, Mateen might have to ride the car and just be pulling up on us every mile and just root us on. That's all I need.
That's what I was thinking. Can I be the guy to take the picture? But hey.
We got to make a playlist with you just talking for about an hour, man.
There we go.
Come on, man. You got it. You can do it.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, 10 miles is no joke. You're right about that.
Yeah, I do want to run a half marathon. I don't know about doing a marathon, but I want to do a half marathon. I do want to do a triathlon one day or a mini triathlon, excuse me. But I do want to try one of those one day just to kind of, push myself and just sound like a goal that, like, before I die, that's something that I want to do.
We'll have to talk next time I see you. I can give you some tips. The half marathon's a great distance. The full marathon, it's a great accomplishment. It's awesome to say that you did it, but it is absolutely brutal from a physical standpoint. So we'll have to talk about that next time I see you.
Yeah, but next time we see each other.
All right, so let's go back to your story. So you're a standout high school basketball player in Flint. You talked about being recruited. How did you end up choosing to go to Michigan State and follow in the footsteps of Mateen here, who went and joined the Spartans a year before you did?
I wouldn't say it was a done deal when them guys went, but it was something like, it was great just seeing guys that you play with and, knowing the competitors that they are and seeing them, go to Michigan State and accomplishing their dreams. But I ended up taking all 5 of my visits. I went to Connecticut, Penn State, Minnesota, Michigan, and Michigan State. And throughout all 5 of those visits, one thing that stood out about Michigan State was just how together everybody was, the family type atmosphere, alumni coming back, and just how comfortable I felt there. Certain, places I went, it was just kind of like, this is awkward. I don't know. But when I went to Michigan State, it was just like, I felt like I was at home. And it was just something that, I couldn't deny. It was great having them guys there. But at the same time, just the atmosphere, just the campus, life. Not just the Flintstone guys being there, but also other friends I had from Flint and other different family members I had that went to Michigan State. It was just something that, I really felt at home there.
Mateen, how hard did you recruit him?
Oh, big time. I recruited him big time, and I was calling Charlie. I was going to his games. I mean, we wanted Charlie. He was that piece. He was the missing piece, and we really recruited Charlie hard. And I knew, especially for me, selfishly, as a point guard, you want guys that can score the basketball, and Charlie was a scorer extraordinaire. I mean, he scored that basketball. So I definitely wanted him on my team, and we played against each other. So I knew what Charlie brings to the table. Now, let me ask you this question, Charlie, because, okay, you're being recruited. You're taking these visits. You're going all over the place. You're Charlie Bell, the superstar. Now, we all have to make that jump, go to the next level. So it was definitely an adjustment for me. So what was one of the biggest challenges for you going from the high school phenom to being just a young pup with milk behind his ears, being a young friend at Michigan State?
I think one thing about the difference between high school and college is you can get by on talent in high school. I think before, like I said, I ran cross country. I mean, but there was never really a time when, I was really in the gym, just working on my game and doing different things. I mean, I was just talented. And I think when I got to college, that's when I put the hard work into it, figuring out, okay, I need to get to the gym early. I got to get there, and after practice, I got to stay and put extra time in. I got to start lifting weights. There's a lot of different things that go into college, whereas in high school, you didn't have to do all those things. It was just like you just show up to the gym, play open gym, play, go to practice, show up to games. But I think really just that hard work aspect and really just took my game to another level. And because, like I said, in high school, it was just talent. Just talent. I never really. It was like I know everybody still kind of mess with me today. It was like, I had no left hand in high school. I didn't need a left hand, So until I got probably, into college, it's like, okay, I need to start working on these things because, people study, then now we're watching film. Now people know your strengths and your weaknesses. So now you need to start working on stuff. And I think that's when the difference between high school and college.
Well, Mateen, you touched on this. And Charlie, I want to ask you, because you guys both know this, you can be a great player in high school, but making that transition to college and playing with, other guys out there who are just as good as you, if not better than you, can be a challenge. But Charlie, you went to Michigan State and you started every game as a freshman. I mean, how were you able to make that transition so seamless?
I think it's just, Coach Izzo and just, like Mateen and Mo Pete and that time, them guys pushing me. If I would have came in there, with my, so happy, lucky, and I'm here. I'm the superstar. Flint's all-time leading scorer. I don't need to work hard. But them guys push me. One thing about Mateen, man, he'll probably tell you is like, I ran cross country, but Mateen, who didn't run cross country, but he got the heart of a champion. And we used to have like the stress test every year. The stress echo. And we got to put all the little things on our body, and we got to put the little mask on. And we got to go on a treadmill, and they put the incline up every 3 minutes and try to see how in shape you are. And every year, when I got to Michigan State, it was like Mateen, knowing he can't beat me, we would show up to each other's stress echo test to see who was going to who was going to go the longest time. And I would always get there and be like, and watch, okay, he got 18 minutes. Now I know I got to go 19 or 20. If I go, he couldn't hang with me. So I usually let him go first, let him push himself. But that's the thing, that we push each other. And I think it's just one of the things where luck meant, I got lucky. I mean, and then I was prepared, which was kind of like the whole thing throughout my whole career. Is that, just preparation and luck. Sometimes, I think Thomas Kelly was probably going to be the slated starter, but he ended up getting hurt, and I was able to step in, and I played well. It's just the same thing that happened throughout my career. When I got to the NBA, certain guys got hurt, and I was able to step up because I was ready. And I think, when Thomas Kelly got hurt, I had put the time in. I first got to Michigan State, Izzo. My teammates were on me to get better and get better. And I think when Thomas Kelly did get hurt and it was my time to step in, I was able to, step in and also keep that position for 4 years, starting every game, because I was able to go. I could have went in a game and started and stunk it up. And next thing you know, my career probably went in a whole different direction, but I was ready. And, like I said, that's just when luck meets preparation.
Charlie, you said something that I think is very important for people to understand. He was ready. He didn't come in and say, well, I'm just going to be a backup and, whatever happens, happens. Charlie worked hard every day, so he was ready when the opportunity came. Now, we did certain things where we was pushed. We pushed each other. And I want people to really understand, even like in the friendly competition in the VO2 max test Charlie talked about, we pushed each other and we held each other accountable. And that's fine to do. But I think a lot of people are worried to do that. It's okay to do so, to hold your team members accountable, to hold your family members accountable when you're working together. Teams like that hold each other accountable, that friendly competition, push each other, challenge each other, but yet hold each other accountable. Those typically are really good teams, whether it's business, whether it's sports, whatever it is. Don't be afraid, ladies and gentlemen, to have friendly competitions and to hold each other accountable as a unit.
Yeah, like you said, I think one of the things with that is like we knew that we push each other because we knew if the better you get, the better our team is going to get. And I knew that I couldn't let my team down. I know I had to be the best defender. I know I had to be in shape. I knew I had to know the plays from different positions because you never know what's going to happen. But when everybody is like know their roles and everybody's pushing each other, and even with Matt and all our walk-ons and our scout team, they pushed us. Not because they wanted to, but they understood that the more they pushed us, the better the team was going to get, and the better we are going to look at the end of the day. I mean, I think that's something that we even talked about when we were in college and we were winning. It's like, yo, we win. Everybody looks good, and everybody's going to be successful. If we were a losing team, there's no telling where some guys would have played at. Certain guys went to the NBA, but because we won, a lot of guys didn't make it to the NBA, but they got a chance to go play overseas, Australia, Italy, Spain, just because we won. So the thing is, when you're winning, everybody looks good, and it's just great in the long run for the whole team.
Well, you guys just celebrated the 20-year anniversary of that 2000 national championship, and I can only imagine the emotions for both of you 20 years later, especially because there was no NCAA tournament this year. But Charlie, when you reflect back on that team and those experiences and to reach the top of the mountain, to achieve that dream that every kid who grows up playing basketball has, to win a national championship, what are the thoughts that come to mind for you?
Just a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And literally, there was times when, guys were getting fights in practice. You might get elbowed in games. That's the blood part. A lot of sweat, getting to 6 a.m. workouts. And I'm not even a morning person. I would stay up all night doing puzzles in my apartment and then try to go work out because I didn't want to be late, because if you were late, there's some type of punishment that you had to do. And tears. There was times I wanted to quit. I think after my freshman year, it was very, very stressful. I was like crying, like, man, I don't know if I can do this. This is hard. And so I think all three of those things, and just to know that all the effort that we put in and pushing each other, that's what we push each other for, to win a national championship, and to reach that goal was something that like you said, 20 years later, you can never take away from us. And there's a lot of great teams out there that will never win a championship, and there's a lot of teams who won't get a chance to even fight to win a championship this year. So just for us to have that opportunity and to win it all, it's something that, I think now with my son being older, he's kind of like starting to realize, like, man, Dad, you were pretty good, huh? I'm like, yeah, I was all right, son.
Yeah, and let me chime in on that somewhat too, because I think what really made us special was the family aspect to it. We did it as a family. It was not one player that was better than the team, that was greater than the team. You had everybody that chimed in, that brought something to the table. Everybody had a role, and everybody did that role on a consistent basis. And that's what that made us successful. We didn't have to worry about Charlie rebounding, scoring the basketball, guarding the team, the best player. We knew he was going to do that. They didn't have to worry about me running the team. We didn't have to worry about if Mo Pete was going to score the basketball that night, because he did it on a consistent basis. The same with Andre Hudson, AJ Granger, and I can go on and on about every guy on that team. Matt coming in, practicing hard, pushing us every day. So it was very important, I think, that people need. It's very important that people need to understand how we won that, and it was a group of people, that a collective effort, that everybody came together for one common goal, and that was to win a national championship. We didn't care about stats, credit. We didn't care about receiving credit. We worried about winning the national championship. And you had a group of guys that every day gave everything they had to accomplish that one goal.
No, it's really well said, Mateen. And, even beyond that one season where you guys cut down the nets and won that national title. I mean, Charlie, when you look at, your college career, you only knew winning. I mean, what is it, 115 total wins? You went to 3 Final Fours. I mean, what did that experience as a whole do for your mentality, not just on the court, but in life when you have done so much winning and been involved with so much success?
I think just perseverance, just sticking to what I know, hard work, and, not getting down on myself because I know deep down I'm a winner. And I know Mateen to tell you, or anybody to tell you, like there were times in games where, I'm sure everybody thought we were going to lose some games. I know people always talk about, man, y'all was losing to Iowa State and y'all was losing to Syracuse, but in our head, we knew we was going to win that game. And I think that's one of the things is like when you got a winner's mentality, there's nothing that can stop you. I think you got to go out there, and know that there's going to be times we may have, 1 or 2 minutes where we won't score the ball, everything's not going to go well. But the thing is, you got to keep a winning mentality because, that's what keeps you going. If you start having a losing mentality, that's when everything starts to go downhill. We got a winning mentality. That's when everything starts to go uphill. You can only achieve great things when you have a winning mentality.
And Charlie, is that something that you think people, that winning mentality, is that something you think can make you successful not only in sports but life and in business as well?
Oh, no doubt. I think you got to stay positive. I think there's been a lot of ups and downs in my career and also my life. And the things is, when I got down on myself and I was negative, that's when things got negative and things went down for me. And when I really started to believe, like, what, everything's going to be great. I got to think positive, really get back to who I am and start thinking, having, like I said before, having a winning mentality. That's when things started to happen in my life, for the good. And that's one of the things that you got to always keep that way, like, know that there's going to be down times. And then bad things are going to happen. Things are not always going to go the way you want it to go. But the thing is, you always got to have, a winner's mentality and just think positive. And when you think positive, I got a lot of friends, we all talk about, positive stuff. That's when positive things start to happen in our lives.
How much of that, Charlie, and some of the other things that you learned under Tom Izzo, and you guys have both obviously talked about Coach Izzo during this conversation, but how much of the lessons that you learned from him have you taken into, not only your basketball playing career, but now your business career?
I think one thing for me is just is getting better every day. Not resting on what you did. I think after my freshman year, we made it to the Sweet 16, and I'm like, man, we made. And I think that was like the first time in a while we made it to the Sweet 16. I'm like, man, we accomplished a lot. I'm tired. I'm about to rest. He has probably called me like 2 days later, like, man, he was on the road recruiting, like, Charlie, I heard you ain't been working out. I'm like, Coach, man, the season just ended. Like, what's going on? It was like, nah, we got to get ready for next year. And I think that's one of the things that I, took throughout my whole career, is every summer, every year, I wanted to come back better. I might have averaged, 20 points a game in Italy one year. I'm like, what, the next year I came back averaging 25. The next year I came back averaging 27. It's like every year, you want to get better. And when that happened, that's something that, kind of propelled my career. Because I know when Milwaukee came and they finally signed me after playing over in Europe for like 3-4 years, one of the scouts told me, it's like, we kept our eye on you. And one thing that we loved about you is that, that you continue to get better. And I think that's a lot of people kind of rest on what they do. And that's when people catch you. The thing is, you got to always continue to improve because there's always somebody coming for you. So you always got to try to work to evolve and improve your game. And then I think even, listening to Matt, he's just talking about, continuous improvement, even with everything that's going on today, everything might be slow right now, but that's time for you to get better. That's time for you to work on stuff that you're probably not good at. So that way, when everything does come back to normal, you come back better.
I love that mentality, Charlie, that wanting to get better. But wait, Justin mentioned business. Business. Wait. We're talking about business, not basketball. Charlie Bell, the businessman now. Like, okay, because I made that transition. So for you, what was you think? What was your thought? Like, because basketball has been our life. I mean, from a little kid all the way up to grown. So now you're a business. Now, what was your mentality? Were you afraid of making that transition? What was your mind when you decided to make that transition?
Man, I was definitely afraid. I think, like you said, it's a whole totally different, mindset. Yeah, but the thing is, I watch my parents get up every day and go to work. And one thing I know about myself is that, if I put my mind to it, I can accomplish anything. And it's kind of funny because one thing that kind of helped me, know that I could do it is like just seeing Mateen do it. I'm like, man, Mateen can do it. Like, come on, man. I already know, man. We went to school together, man. I know. Hey, I know, Mateen.
Taking shots at me, Charlie. Come on. I thought we was boys, man. Come on.
So I said, man, if Mateen can go and get up every day, I said, I can do it. But I think one thing about it, man, is just if it was any other job, who knows what would have happened. But just coming to and visiting, UWM and just seeing the atmosphere and talking with Matt, and just seeing, it's not your typical, 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 or 10 to 7, whatever hours everybody work. But it's, it's a great atmosphere. And, it's like going back to school again. But you got to just continue to have that winning mentality, or just that continuous improvement mentality. It's like, I don't know this stuff. I don't know, about mortgages, but, every day I'm learning. And every day, I'm getting on Academy and I'm watching different videos and I'm, trying to do what I can to try to pick up everything as fast as I can, but also like understanding the company, understanding the culture. And like I talked about before, just getting better every day, and being a competitor, I'm in the big program, so we're working in a lot of different aspects. So sometimes we're in production, sometimes we're doing projects, whatever I'm doing, I'm trying to, make myself useful, and I'm trying to be the best, even though I might not be the best, but I'm trying to push myself, because I know that that's going to help the company.
And so the same mentality. So you're telling me it's the same mentality you had in sports?
I mean, definitely. Like you talked about before, man. We got to push each other. And the thing is that I'm a competitor. I don't want to be the weak link. I don't want to be that guy that's I don't know about Charlie, man. He might hold us back. I want to definitely try to do something. I want to help. And I think that's think about the company and the transition into this world is trying to find where I'm what's my role. Even though I went from being Flint's all-time leading scorer to being our best defender at Michigan State, because I understood that I had to change my role. So right now I'm just kind of trying to figure out what my role is and what I can do to help the team win and what I can do to help the company, be the best that it can be.
Well, Charlie, you mentioned your high school playing days and we've talked about your college career, but one thing we haven't touched on yet is your professional career. When you left Michigan State, you were undrafted, but you still spent some time in the NBA. You also mentioned your experiences in Europe. When you think collectively about your professional playing career, what are the things that stand out most to you?
Man, like I talked about before, just a lot of ups and downs. Not getting drafted, playing in the NBA, getting cut, playing in the ABA, going back to the NBA, getting cut again, going overseas, thinking I'm going to come back to the NBA, not getting cut again, not making teams and going back to Europe. But the thing is, through all of that, like I talked about before, it's like I understood, like, okay, I got cut from Phoenix. I'll go talk with the general manager or somebody. Hey, why did I get cut? What was wrong? You need to work on your ball handling because at this level, you got to be a point guard, not just a two guard. You got to be able to knock the three down on a consistent basis. So there's a lot of different things. Okay, I learned, what I got to do to get better. And that's what I worked on. I went over to Europe. I was going to the gym extra, even though we was doing 2-a-days, I would probably go mid-afternoon just to get shots up, just to work on different stuff, work on my ball handling. And one thing about my career is that probably helped me throughout, in life, my basketball career, is just being adaptive, I think, and learning different cultures, learning different people. Because, growing up in Flint, you only see, one thing, and that's, people in Flint. That's one culture. But I think one thing for me, and a lot of guys can't do it. When I went to Italy, my first 3 months, I was ready to leave. I was ready to go. I got to get out of here. This ain't home. And then once I got used to it and once I adapted, that really helped me throughout my career because now I understand different people, especially with the way the NBA has been changing throughout the years. A lot of guys coming from Europe and even being in the in the business world, understanding people's different backgrounds and being able to, talk to them about, what I've experienced and being able to relate to a lot of different people. I think a lot of people can't do that because, just being from Flint, you may go talk to somebody from anywhere else and you can't relate to them. I think with me, having all these different backgrounds, playing in a lot of different cities and countries, I'm able to relate to and able to talk to a lot of different people.
You got to be able to relate to different people. But Charlie, you said something that caught my attention. When you said you got cut from Phoenix, you went to seek out feedback. See, because I know a lot of people can play the victim and feel sorry for themselves. But you didn't. You took the high road. You went to talk to the GM to see how you could get better. And I think that's something that could be used in the business world. I think sometimes it's so easy to play the victim role, but you took the high road. You went to talk to the GM to figure out what you need to do to be a better player.
I think a lot of people have this mentality as like, I'm the greatest and, you can't tell me what to do and I do everything. But for me, I like to look at myself as a realist. I know I'm not the best at everything. I know I'm not the worst at everything. But the one thing about me is that, when coach I know when I make a mistake. I know when coach yells at me, I know, okay, yeah, I did that wrong. Sometimes I'll get mad like, coach, I know I did it wrong. And sometimes, but you got to understand and be able to take that feedback and not get upset and understand that, all the feedback that you get is good. And if you take that and apply it and work on what they're telling you to work on, you're going to get better. And that's when good things are going to happen. I feel like Mateen said, I could have been like, man, this team tripping, man. I know I'm good. I'm better than that guy. But the thing is, okay, they told me what I need to work on. That's what I need to work on. And then there might be something else I need to work on. And then once you understand all of those different things, and then once I started to get better at those things, they told me that's when nobody can hold me back then. That's when I finally made it, because I worked on all those different things. When I finally got my shot, I was ready because I worked on all those different things that they told me that I needed help on. And then there's things that my game was weak that I could get stronger at. And I think that's the thing is that we could, like, even in business, basketball, sports, there's always something that you can work on getting better at.
People will go Google you, Charlie, and they'll see that you played in the NBA. You played for the Bucks. You spent time with the Golden State Warriors. Everyone assumes it's just this glamorous life, right? And both of you guys know this because you both have been there before. So I want to ask you, what is it really like in the NBA when you're not the superstar player? When you are out there every day in practice, literally working your butt off for a spot on the team or for playing time. What is that like, and what did those experiences do for you?
I think one of the things that it did for me is, just build my character. Like we talked about before, being Flint's all-time leading scorer, 3 Final Fours, a national championship, But the thing is, every level you go up, there's going to be guys that always come from, they're pretty good too. And the thing is that you got to continue to understand your role. And I think that was one thing that kind of helped me throughout my career is like, even at Michigan State, I need to be the best defender. When I got into the pros, I may not be a starter. I may not when I first got there, and I may just be happy to be here. But I understood my role. It's like, I got to push my career every day. I got to get him better. There's different things that I got to do, and work on my game at the same time, but also understand my role. And you might be just like a scout team guy. I would watch film on like a Ray Allen and kind of learn his tendencies so I can do those in practice on the scout team, because now when we go into the game, we're ready for my career because I was able to portray him in practice, even though I couldn't shoot like him. But the thing is, like, you got to learn these different things. You got to understand what your role is and understand that you may not be the top guy. You got to understand your role, because if you play your role and you excel at your role, you're going to push everybody else to be better, and that's going to only help everybody.
And you keep saying, like, understand your role. And I want to even talk a little more about that, because if you think big picture, what you're saying is, how can I make the team better? How can I make us better? Okay, it ain't my role to score all the points or whatever it is, but I want to have an impact. So whatever I got to do to impact, whether it's a practice player, whether it's the star player, whatever it is. I want to impact the team to help us reach our goals.
I think that's always been my mentality. I want to win. So, why go out there and compete, with somebody that I know that person might be a better scorer than me. Your guy might be a better rebounder. That guy might be a better passer. Okay, I got to understand what can I do to help the team? Because I'm not going to be the best at something, but at the same time, what I got to do to help this team win? Because I know if the team wins, I'm going to look good. And I know that I did my part, because like everybody got to understand, like you got to understand what your role is and do it to the best of your ability. That was my thing. In high school, I probably didn't need to score, but I understood for our team to win, I need to score. When I got to Michigan State, I understood that I need to be the best defender. When I went overseas, I had to be a scorer again. When I went to NBA, I got to be a better defender. I got to be able to pass the ball better. I got to be able to knock down open shots. Whatever I got to do, that's why I'm, Michigan State's all the time, winning as players, because I want to win. And I think, that's like a little low ball shot. But I always like to mess with the team. But that's always been, my mentality. It's like what I got to do to help the team win. A lot of people always used to call me selfish in high school because I scored a lot, and bro, I didn't pass. But that was my role to score. So I'm not going out there trying to get assists. Like Michigan State, Mateen get assists. That was his role. That was like his job to push us every day, to yell at us and to motivate us. That was his role. My role was in high school to score. My role was to play. I understood my role. Wherever I was at, I understood my role, and I understood what I had to do to help the team win. Because when you understand your role, man, there's a lot of it can take you very far. I mean, it really can.
You talked about it. Well, you said the guys in high school said you were selfish. Well, let me say this. I played against your team in high school, so it should have been nobody on that team saying that you were selfish. They should have did everything in their power to get you the basketball and get the heck out your way and let you score, because that's what you did. You wanted to.
I mean, there was a couple. There was a couple, man. Like I said before, they didn't understand their roles.
Yeah, if I was the coach, they would have been off the team.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Maybe that's why we didn't win as much as the team as we should have, because sometimes there were guys that thought that, hey, I need to be scoring more. I need to be doing this. I need to be doing that. And that kind of that breaks a team up, because now when you start doing that, now you're competing against each other in a negative way. Now I'm mad because that guy didn't pass the ball, so now I'm not going to play defense. I'm mad because this guy didn't rebound and he didn't get that's the things that hurt teams. And I think that's why when we won, because we all understood there was competing, but in a positive way.
Yeah.
There was no, hey, I don't like this guy because I like him because he's scoring, and I'm going to do my role. I'm going to do what I can to help. That's what winning teams do. Like losing teams are the teams that go out there and losing companies, a loser's mentality is like competing with people in a negative way, and that can only bring both of us down.
What it sounds like to me really is just pushing your ego to the side, and especially in sports. In basketball, there's a lot of egos involved, but just listening to you talk and even listening to Mateen talk about you, it seems like at every step of the way, a big part of your success has been, the ability to take ego out of the equation. And also, another thing that really kind of stood out to me is just versatility. Like you said, if you were asked to score, you could score. If you were asked to rebound, you could rebound. If you were asked to go out there and guard the other team's best player, you could do that. Those are two of the things that really jump out to me. I don't know what you think, Mateen.
Oh, for sure. It's definitely. I mean, he was so versatile. I mean, whatever you needed, Charlie could bring it to the table, and that's playing probably different roles throughout his life. But he was so versatile, and I think I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's very important in what we're going through right now. Being versatile, being able to adapt. Okay, people are freaking out about this COVID-19 thing. It's here. Okay, I don't have time to think about how it got here, who thought it was. It's how do we adapt and adjust and be able to have success while this is going on. So I think Charlie, the role he's played throughout his life is a lot has a lot to do with being able to adapt, and I think that's something everybody need to kind of take in right now and be able to adapt, because a lot of things are different as we're going through these crazy times.
Charlie, you after you hung up your basketball shoes, you went into coaching. You coached in the NBA's developmental league for a couple of years. Was coaching always something that you knew you wanted to do, or how did you find yourself on the sideline coaching up the young guys out there?
You know what? I would never see myself coaching when I was playing, because I wasn't that vocal of a guy. I mean, I would talk, but at the same time, I wasn't, Mateen's probably more suited to be a coach. He was one of those guys who, very great motivator. But for me, what led me to coach is just my love of the game. And as you get older, you can't do the same things that you did when you were younger. I can't jump, I can't run as fast as I could, and I can't defend the way I want. I get hit with a screen, my bat go out. It was just different things. Like, I can't play no more. So at the same time, it's like, as I got older in my career, and things started to slow down for me, that's when I found myself on the bench when a guy comes out the game. Like, hey, man, on this pick and roll, this guy was open. When you're guarding this guy, man, you want to do this, to maybe stop him from one of his strengths. So it's like there was certain things that kind of started to happen slowly in my career. And it was after I got done, it was like, I really want to do this as a coach. It's really help these young guys get better, and film work, watching film with a younger guy, and just trying to help him improve. What do I got to do to give back to the game that gave so much to me?
And Charlie, it's funny because, as a coach, because we all you play for a ton of different coaches, and they have a certain look on their face when you do something wrong, or they say certain things to you when you do something wrong. Mm-hmm. Now, when you made that transition and you were a coach, did you look back and say, okay, now I see why my coach was mad at me when that happened?
Most definitely. All throughout my, Izzo at Michigan State, all 4 years he's yelling at me. I'm like, man, just chill, man. It ain't that big a deal. But as I began to coach, I'm like, I understand now. I understand why he got upset. But I think, we talk about coaching, but it's like the small things. One thing that I kind of realized was just the small things. That even when I first started getting into the coaching that world, I was volunteering at a school in Atlanta, like a high school, and I would see different things go on in practice, and the coach would let them get away with it. And then next thing you know, in a game, when it's a close game, they come down and try to make that same play that they did in practice when the coach probably could have nipped it in the bud, but he didn't. So now you're getting that close game, and it costs the team the state championship because you let them get away with the little stuff. Because that if you let teams that's building bad habits. And I think one thing I learned at Michigan State with Coach Izzo and transition to being a coach from a player is that you got to nip those bad habits in the butt as quick as possible, because they can cost you. You think like, oh, I come down and I tried this behind the back pass and I turned it over. That's one little turnover in practice, man. I'm just messing around. But if you let that go on and you build that habit up. So now in a close game, we're playing against Duke or something, and there's, we're down by 30 seconds left. I'm coming on a fast break. I try that behind the back, turn it over, and we lose the game. And I'll probably be like, man, I'm sorry, my bad. But at the same time, I did it in practice so many times, and I got away with it. I think that was one thing that I learned as a coach. Like, you can't let guys get away with little stuff, because those little things that you let them get away with can cost you in the wrong moments.
At what point did you decide, Charlie, during your coaching career in the NBA's D League, that you were gonna need to try something else? What was the moment or what was the process that you went through to determine that you were gonna leave basketball behind and do something different?
I think for me, like we touched on before, it's like basketball is something I knew my whole life. And it was hard. But at the same time, that coaching world, even the playing world, it's hard. And just as far as year to year, Mateen to tell you, you sign a 1-year contract. After that 1 year is up, now you're looking for another job that next year. And then, okay, now that you signed a 2-year deal. So after 2 years, like, okay, what I'm going to do? Like, and, never know what's going to happen. And in the coaching world, you can get fired. Like that happened in Minnesota. It's like, we was under, Thibodeau, and next thing you know, he got fired. So it's like, okay, what am I going to do? So that coaching world is this every year, you don't know what's going to happen. And, for me, I was just tired of the instability. And it was like, I saw what was going on with Matt at UWM and everything that was going on there. And I saw how it was growing and just a more stable environment. And for me, like I said, I just got tired of, the year-to-year search and not knowing what's going to happen. And I think, going from city to city to city to city, I'm very good at adapting, but at the same time, it gets to a point in your career, it's like, I want something that's a little more stable. And I want to just be, it's great to be back home around family and around all my loved ones and be around all my friends and working at a great place like UWM. So I think that's one of the things, just that the instability of it all and just having something that I know, it's another challenge. For me, it's like, okay, I've done the basketball world and I don't want to die and everybody, I don't want to like just my whole life to be that. I want to be able to do something else and just say that, I wasn't only just successful in basketball, but I was successful in a corporate atmosphere also.
All right, Mateen, I got to ask you this now because I asked you earlier about the recruiting pitch to Charlie when you're at Michigan State. What was the pitch like to him to come join you in the business world, especially with you knowing him and knowing the kind of person that he was and knowing what his potential could be?
Yeah, exactly. I think that was the first thing. You don't want to bring in people that's not a good fit. Where culturally wise, Charlie was a great fit. I mean, he's a hard worker, good person. So that's what I was thinking about. But one thing I was just telling Charlie on that, when you come to UWM, you control your own destiny pretty much. If you come in, you work hard, you're going to have success. In basketball, it don't work that way sometimes, especially business-wise. When you're talking about, your coaching, and you could be one of the best coaches there. But if another coach take over the team, they might not want to hire you back. So there's a lot of instability there. Or even playing-wise, you could be the better player. But if a guy just signed a big contract, they're going to play that guy. So a lot of that stuff is out of your hands. But here at UWM, if you work hard, you control your own destiny. And that was something I was just telling Charlie. We won a national championship together. Why not win another one? But one thing I just tried to sell Charlie on is if you come in and work hard, man, you'll control your own destiny and you'll have success here at UWM.
Yeah, that's one thing like he talked about, man, just the culture and just having a winning mentality and wanting to get better. I think even when talking with Mateen, talking with Chris and Adam, a lot of us, come from that basketball background. And even talking with Matt, even since I've been there, a lot of people don't know nothing about mortgages when they first get there. But at the same time, even like talking with Matt, it was like, I was like, Matt, I don't know nothing about what's going on. I don't even know what you do here. I don't even know what a wholesale mortgage is. So it was like, look, like he talks about it all the time. It's like if you have a great mentality and you want to learn, they're going to teach you. And they're doing a great job of teaching me. And now I'm trying to explain to people what wholesale mortgages is now. When a couple months ago, I'm like, man, people like, you work at UW, what is that? I don't know. So now I'm able to tell people exactly, what we do. And only a couple months. So like Mateen said, if you work hard and you continue to get better, and that's what, the whole culture about at UWM is about learning, getting better, and getting promoted and being in a position that if you put the work in, you're going to get rewarded for it.
And to me, Charlie, looking at you, you're going through, as you mentioned earlier, the Business Innovation Group, which is our 1-year rotational program. It's a select group of people that come in and basically go through the entire company, learn the business, and then at the end of that year, they get placed on a team where they're going to add the most value and lead that team and lead the company to continued success. And, just thinking about you and your makeup being versatile, going through a program like this where you have to rotate through so many different aspects of the company and spend time with so many different teams, I can only think that that versatility is really paying off for you right now.
I mean, it is, just being able to adapt and because, we started off in sales and we go to underwriting, which is two totally different worlds. Like underwriters and sales, you up there that sales floor, there's a lot more talking. There's a lot more of this. If you go down to underwriting, it's a little more quiet. And just being able, like I said before, to adapt, being able to blend in different worlds. And, now we're in closing. So it's like, it's a whole totally another different world. So, you got to be able to take everything in stride. Just continue to have that upbeat attitude and being positive. Sometimes, guys get, discouraged because of what's going on. It's like, look, man, we have a job, we're working, we're learning, and don't stress yourself, just pick it up the best that we can. And at the same time, we don't have to be experts, but at the same time, try to, learn as much as you can and be as much expert as you can, because, in another 2 weeks, we're going to probably be in a different rotation. So, and we're going to be learning something totally different. So by the end of this, you never know, if I'm going to even remember what happened in underwriting or remember what happened in sales, but I'm just trying to learn and I think one thing I think that's great about the program is just the connections that we're meeting. Being in this program, we meet with a lot of leaders. We go to a lot of different, leadership huddles, and really getting them, meet the people that's really behind the company. I mean, Matt really does a great job, and he has a great leadership team, and really getting to meet all these people. I think that's one thing, is that I really love about the program is just building relationships with everybody. Because if I was just in sales, all I would know was these salespeople. But now in 800 or however many we got now, I don't even know. I know the numbers keeps rising, but you only know those people. But I think, throughout this program, meeting people in all the different phases of the company, I think it's just really just something that, you can't put a price tag on. You can't put nothing. I mean, that's something that's really, priceless, just getting to meet a lot of different people throughout the whole company.
So, Charlie, I got to ask you, since we do have a full-length indoor basketball court at our headquarters, how often do you get other team members coming up to you who want to challenge you and see how much game you still have left?
Like I said, I can't wait to get back in that gym and get back to the office. I think I'm gonna do the whole Michigan State kiss the floor and hug the pillars when I get in. I'm just gonna be so happy to be back to work because I'm tired of sitting at home. But I think Mateen to tell you, we always get challenged, man. Throughout the office, emails, Skype. Somebody's always saying something like, "Man, I gotta wait till I get you on the court." And for me, I still get out there and I play. I play in the 5-on-5 league, and I had somebody start fouling me and trying to play me all physical and rough. I said, "Man, you fouling?" He said, "Man, you play in the NBA, man. This ain't nothing." I said, "But you still fouling though." But at the same time, I had to go ahead and I like to go out there and have fun. The whole fun and friendship thing. But sometimes, I got to go ahead and be the competitor that I am, and show people why I play in the NBA. And like Mateen would tell you, a pro is a pro and a Joe is a Joe. And I had to show some people. And after I went off on a guy and probably scored 10, 15 straight on him real quick, he was quiet after that, because all the time I step in the locker room or even if I'm out there shooting, somebody want to shoot against me, somebody want to do this, but it's fun. And I like that. And I love that because it pushes me. Sometimes when I'm out there just going through the motions, sometimes you need somebody to push you. Sometimes some of these team members, they push me. And when they do, they learn that I'm not to be pushed.
A pro is a pro and a Joe is a Joe. So I want guys to know that. You can call me out. You wasting your time. I ain't playing. But Charlie is accepting all those challenges. But I've heard about all the stories.
Always accept the challenges, man.
Hey.
Always.
Keep getting them, Charlie. Now, I ain't playing them, but Charlie right now, Charlie still can score that ball at a high rate. So be careful who you call out, guys.
Just like my playing career, I know I can't, just like in Michigan, I know I can't let my team down, so I got to go out there because that's going to be the first person. If somebody do something to me, the first person they going to run to is Mateen. Man, I got your boy, man. And I know Mateen. Hey, man, why you let that happen? So I got to go out there, and I always got to go out there and represent my peoples.
That's right.
Hey, Charlie, before we wrap up the conversation, I just got to ask you, based on your experience of making this successful transition from basketball to business, what other advice would you have for other athletes out there or even other people who have only done one thing for their entire lives and they're hesitant? They're not sure if they can make a transition like you have made. Based on what you have learned, what would your advice to those people be?
I think you never know when it's going to be over. So I think I will always tell athletes, when I was coaching, is that, you need to start exploring now. You may be 22 years old and you think you got another 10, 15, 20 years of playing. No, you never know if an injury is going to happen. Something can happen tomorrow where a life-altering experience where you got to have something to fall back on. And the thing is, I think early in players' career, and I think you're starting to see it a lot more now, which is great, but you need to start exploring. If you want to be a coach, that the NBA has coaching programs. They have business programs. They have a lot of different things that you can do. Even guys who play overseas and they don't have the same things that the NBA kind of offer. There's things that you can do when you go back to your home city. Is go to an office, say, hey, can I just hang around for the day or shadow for the day? Just do something because you never know when it's going to be over. You got to be prepared. And I think that's something that I would say that I wasn't really prepared because it kind of hit me kind of quick. And if I can go back in my playing careers, that I would have started to explore, different things, before my playing career was over. So that way, when it's over, I'm able. It's not going to be just hit me in the face, and not knowing, just kind of a fish out of water. You kind of have an idea of what you want to go into, and that is something that I would tell players is that have something in their mind, have something that whatever you love, start exploring it, start doing research. And be ready because you never know when your career is over with. And then I would tell guys, too, to save money, budget, because, if you're getting these paychecks and the NBA getting paychecks overseas, when that's over, paychecks is over. And the thing is, a lot of the guys are living like those paychecks are going to continue to come. And I think, Mateen will tell you, I know a lot of NBA guys who are not playing or players in general who play NBA or professionally will tell you is that when those paychecks stop. And the thing is, you got to be able to, be able to live on a budget and able to, take care of your finances. And that's the two things. Just know what you want to do before it's over with and make sure that, you take care of your money.
Great advice. Well said. Mateen, are you still there?
Yes.
I was like, for a second, I wasn't sure if you were frozen or if you were just really intently listening to what Charlie was saying.
Yeah,
you were intently listening.
Yes, sir.
Well, this has been fun, fellas. I appreciate you taking me on this trip down memory lane and being able to get to know more about you, Charlie, and your story and some of the things that you have been through. And we know that there are big things ahead for you with the company. So thanks so much for joining us on the podcast. We appreciate you taking the time, and we'll look forward to getting together hopefully sooner than later and getting out there for a run.
Definitely. I look forward to it.
All right, fellas. Thanks, Charlie. Mateen. We'll talk soon.
All right.
To make sure you never miss an episode of Power Forward, subscribe wherever you find your podcasts and leave us a review. And look for another new episode coming your way 2 weeks from now, featuring more inspirational stories of success. I'm Justin White. We'll see you next time on Power Forward.